Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The upper part of a column that supports the entablature. The federal government of the United States. One of the large alphabetic characters used as the first letter in writing or printing proper names and sometimes for emphasis. Printers once kept the type for capitals and for small letters in separate cases. Capitals were kept in the upper half of the typecase and so became known as uppercase letters. Assets available for use in the production of further assets. Uppercase. Capital A. A book written by Karl Marx, 1867, describing his economic theories. A center that is associated more than any other with some activity or product. The crime capital of Italy. A seat of government. First rate. A capital fellow. Of primary importance. Our capital concern was to avoid defeat. Wealth in the form of money or property owned by a person or business and human resources of economic value. A protective covering that is part of a plant. Lie at the top of. Snow capped the mountains. The upper part of a column that supports the entablature. A fruiting structure resembling an umbrella or a cone that forms the top of a stalked fleshy fungus such as a mushroom. A mechanical or electrical explosive device or a small amount of explosive can be used to initiate the reaction of a disrupting explosive. An upper limit on what is allowed. They established a cap for prices. Dentistry. Dental appliance consisting of an artificial crown for a broken or decayed tooth. A tight-fitting headdress. A top, as for a bottle. Restrict the number or amount of. We had to cap the number of people we can accept into our club. Something serving as a cover or protection. The upper part of a column that supports the entablature. A state in northwestern United States on the Pacific. United States educator who was born a slave but became educated and founded a college at Tuskegee in Alabama, 1856 to 1915. The federal government of the United States. First President of the United States. Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army during the American Revolution, 1732 to 1799. The capital of the United States in the District of Columbia and a tourist mecca. George Washington commissioned Charles L'Enfant to lay out the city in 1791. One of the large alphabetic characters used as the first letter in writing or printing proper names and sometimes for emphasis. One of the large alphabetic characters used as the first letter in writing or printing proper names and sometimes for emphasis. Uppercase. Many medieval manuscripts are in majuscule script. Of are relating to a style of writing characterized by somewhat rounded capital letters, 4th to 8th centuries. One of the large alphabetic characters used as the first letter in writing or printing proper names and sometimes for emphasis. Printers once kept the type for capitals and for small letters in separate cases. Capitals were kept in the upper half of the typecase and so became known as uppercase letters. One of the large alphabetic characters used as the first letter in writing or printing proper names and sometimes for emphasis. Relating to capital letters which were kept in the top half of a compositor's typecase. Uppercase letters, X and Y and Z etc. Assets available for use in the production of further assets. In an advanced stage of pregnancy. Was great with child. Of major significance or importance. A great work of art. Uppercase. Grade A. Very good. Had a great time at the party. A person who has achieved distinction and honor in some field. He is one of the greats of American music. Relatively large in size or number or extent, larger than others of its kind. A great juicy steak. Remarkable or out of the ordinary in degree or magnitude or effect. A great crisis. A book written by Karl Marx, 1867, describing his economic theories. Having a higher rank. Superior officer. A combatant who is able to defeat rivals. A character or symbol set or printed or written above and immediately to one side of another character. Written or printed above and to one side of another character. One of greater rank or station or quality. The largest freshwater lake in the world, the deepest of the Great Lakes. A town in northwest Wisconsin on Lake Superior across from Duluth. Having an orbit farther from the Sun than the Earth's orbit. Mars and Jupiter are the closest in of the superior planets. Of high or superior quality or performance. Superior wisdom derived from experience. Of or characteristic of high rank or importance. A superior ruler. Often followed by to, above being affected or influenced by. He is superior to fear. Sometimes followed by to, not subject to or influenced by. Overcome by a superior opponent. The head of a religious community. A preliminary election where delegates or nominees are chosen. Of or being the essential or basic part. One of the main flight feathers projecting along the outer edge of a bird's wing. Coil forming the part of an electrical circuit such that changing current in it induces a current in a neighboring circuit. Current through the primary coil induces current in the secondary coil. Most important element. Policemen were primary targets. Astronomy, a celestial body, especially a star, relative to other objects in orbit around it. Not derived from or reducible to something else, basic. A primary instinct. Of first rank or importance or value, direct and immediate rather than secondary. Primary goals. Be the culminating event. The first half of an inning, while the visiting team is at bat. A relief pitcher took over in the top of the fifth. Pass by, over, or under without making contact. The balloon cleared the treetops. A canvas tent to house the audience at a circus performance. They had the big top up in less than an hour. A conical child's plaything tapering to a steel point on which it can be made to spin. He got a bright red top and string for his birthday. Be superior or better than some standard. She topped her performance of last year. Cut the top off. Top trees and bushes. Provide with a top or finish the top of a structure. The towers were topped with conical roofs. The highest or uppermost side of anything. Put your books on top of the desk. Be ahead of others, be the first. She topped her class every year. Covering for a hole, especially a hole in the top of a container. He removed the top of the carton. The top or extreme point of something, usually a mountain or hill. Finish up or conclude. They topped off their dinner with a cognac. The highest level or degree attainable. The highest stage of development. At the top of his profession. A garment, especially for women, that extends from the shoulders to the waist or hips. He stared as she buttoned her top. Be at the top of or constitute the top or highest point. A star tops the Christmas tree. Platform surrounding the head of a lower mast. Reach or ascend the top of. The hikers topped the mountain just before noon. Situated at the top or highest position. The top shelf. Strike. The top part of a ball in golf, baseball, or pool, giving it a forward spin. The greatest possible intensity. He screamed at the top of his lungs. The upper part of anything. The mower cuts off the tops of the grass. Represent by means of a graph. A visual representation of the relations between certain quantities, represented as points, plotted with reference to a set of axes. A written symbol that is used to represent speech. A visual display of information. Plot upon a graph. A written symbol that is used to represent speech. A formal recommendation by a former employer to a potential future employer describing the person's qualifications and dependability. Requests for character references are all too often answered evasively. A person of a specified kind, usually with many eccentricities. A real character. The inherent complex of attributes that determines a person's moral and ethical actions and reactions. Education has for its object the formation of character. An imaginary person represented in a work of fiction, play or film or story. She is the main character in the novel. A written symbol that is used to represent speech. The Greek alphabet has 24 characters. A characteristic property that defines the apparent individual nature of something. The radical character of our demands. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. Engrave or inscribe characters on. Genetics. An attribute, structural or functional, that is determined by a gene or group of genes. Good repute. He is a man of character. A written symbol that is used to represent speech. Anything of material value or usefulness that is owned by a person or company. A building dedicated to a particular activity. The object upon which interest and attention focuses. Direct one's attention on something. Move into the center. A cluster of nerve cells governing a specific bodily process. The sweet central portion of a piece of candy that is enclosed in chocolate or some other covering. A place where some particular activity is concentrated. A point equidistant from the ends of a line or the extremities of a figure. An area that is approximately central within some larger region. The choicest or most essential or most vital part of some idea or experience. A low-lying region in central France. A building dedicated to a particular activity. They were raising money to build a new center for research. The object upon which interest and attention focuses. His stories made him the center of the party. Direct one's attention on something. Move into the center. That vase in the picture is not centered. A cluster of nerve cells governing a specific bodily process. In most people, the speech center is in the left hemisphere. The sweet central portion of a piece of candy that is enclosed in chocolate or some other covering. Mercantile establishment consisting of a carefully landscaped complex of shops representing leading merchandisers. Usually includes restaurants and a convenient parking area. A modern version of the traditional marketplace. Equally distant from the extremes. A place where some particular activity is concentrated. They received messages from several centers. Football. The person who plays center on the line of scrimmage and snaps the ball to the quarterback. The center fumbled the handoff. A point equidistant from the ends of a line or the extremities of a figure. An area that is approximately central within some larger region. It is in the center of town. Center upon. Her entire attention centered on her children. The choicest or most essential or most vital part of some idea or experience. The piece of ground in the outfield directly ahead of the catcher. He hit the ball to deep center. American football. The position of the player on the line of scrimmage who puts the ball in play. It is a center's responsibility to get the football to the quarterback. A position on a basketball team of the player who participates in the jump that starts the game. Basketball. The person who plays center on a basketball team. Ice hockey. The person who plays center on a hockey team. Of or belonging to neither the right nor the left politically or intellectually. Politically moderate persons, centrists. The middle of a military or naval formation. They had to reinforce the center. The position on a hockey team of the player who participates in the face-off at the beginning of the game. Show to a seat. Assign a seat for. The host seated me next to Mrs. Smith. Place ceremoniously or formally in an office or position. A space reserved for sitting, as in a theater or on a train or airplane. He booked their seats in advance. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. A center of authority, as a city from which authority is exercised. Any support where you can sit, especially the part of a chair or bench etc. on which you sit. He dusted off the seat before sitting down. A part of a machine that supports or guides another part. Be able to seat. The theater seats 2,000. Furniture that is designed for sitting on. There were not enough seats for all the guests. Place in or on a seat. The mother seated the toddler on the high chair. Place or attach firmly in or on a base. Seat the camera on the tripod. Provide with seats. Seat a concert hall. Put a seat on a chair. The cloth covering for the buttocks. The seat of his pants was worn through. The legal right to sit as a member in a legislative or similar body. He was elected to a seat in the Senate. The location, metaphorically speaking, where something is based. The brain is said to be the seat of reason. A character having the form of an uppercase letter but the same height as lowercase letters. A corporation with a small capitalization. This annual conference is a showcase for ambitious small caps. A character having the form of an uppercase letter but the same height as lowercase letters. Capital available for the operations of a firm, e.g. manufacturing or transportation, as distinct from financial transactions and long-term improvements. Wealth available for investment in new or speculative enterprises. The handle of a handgun or the butt end of a rifle or shotgun are part of the support of a machine gun or artillery gun. The rifle had been fitted with a special stock. The merchandise that a shop has on hand. Persistent thickened stem of herbaceous perennial plant. Any of several Old World plants cultivated for their brightly colored flowers. Repeated too often, overfamiliar through overuse. A stalk answer. Put forth and grow sprouts or shoots. The descendants of one individual. Any of various ornamental flowering plants of the genus Malcolmia. A special variety of domesticated animals within a species. Have on hand. A supply of something available for future use. Any animals kept for use or profit. A certificate documenting the shareholder's ownership in the corporation. The value of his stocks doubled during the past year. Amass so as to keep for future use or sale or for a particular occasion or use. Let's stock coffee as long as prices are low. Regularly and widely used or sold. A stock item. Liquid in which meat and vegetables are simmered, used as a basis for e.g. soups or sauces. She made gravy with a base of beef stock. An ornamental white cravat. A plant or stem onto which a graft is made, especially a plant grown specifically to provide the root part of grafted plants. Equip with a stock. Stock a rifle. Lumber used in the construction of something. They will cut round stock to 1 inch diameter. Provide or furnish with a stock of something. Stock the larder with meat. Routine. A stock answer. Supply with fish. Stock a lake. Supply with livestock. Stock a farm. The capital raised by a corporation through the issue of shares entitling holders to an ownership interest, equity. He owns a controlling share of the company's stock. The handle end of some implements or tools. He grabbed the cue by the stalk. The reputation and popularity a person has. His stock was so high he could have been elected mayor. Capital needed to set up a new business or enterprise. Wealth available for investment in new or speculative enterprises. The capital city of a political subdivision of a country. The capital city of a province.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.